a definite and distinct ecclesiastical government, a formal code of doctrine and discipline, a distinct religious history, a membership not associated with any other church or denomination, an organization of ordained ministers selected after completing prescribed studies, a literature of its own, established places of worship, regular congregations, regular religious services, Sunday schools for religious instruction of the young, and schools for the preparation of its ministers. Now you start to understand why they do these different things, why they send them this school and send them here, send them there, because they want to keep that tax exempt status. This I say, he which soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully. Every man according as he purposeth in his heart, so let him give, not grudgingly or of necessity, for God loveth a cheerful giver. The liberal soul shall be made fat, and he that watereth shall be watered also himself. Giving can be done through Patreon, PayPal, or Cashapp. All links are in the description. As stated over the years, if you do give, let it be in accordance with the scriptures. Love you. Let's get it. How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Staying Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ as always. Today is Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. Wednesday, September 27th, 2023. The time is currently, about to say 8:29 p.m. This is where the work happens. Ain't no magic around here. It's work of the Lord. I mentioned this and I wanted to show you. I just wanted to show you, as you see from the title of the video. Although a church is integrated auxiliaries, or a convention or association of churches isn't required to file Form 1023 to be exempt from federal income tax or to receive tax-deductible contributions, the organization may find it advantageous to obtain recognition of exemption. In this event, you should submit information showing that your organization is a church, synagogue, association, or convention of churches, religious order, or religious organization that is an integral part of a church, and that it is engaged in carrying out the function of a church. In determining whether an admittedly religious organization is also a church, the IRS doesn't accept every assertion that the organization is a church, because beliefs and practices vary so widely. There is no single definition of the word church for tax purposes. The IRS considers the facts and circumstances of each organization applying for church status. According to the IRS, these pastors that have set up these churches with these different names with the government under 501c3 as a nonprofit, they do not have to file Form 1023 to be exempt from federal income tax or to receive tax deductible contributions. Pretty much, they have to prove that they are a church, what they consider a church. Why don't they tell you this? But they make sure they are in compliance because they say they may find it advantageous to attain recognition of exemption. Hey, you don't have to do this to get tax exempt, but we will recognize you and there will be special privileges if you do. Now, somebody's saying, oh man, you brought up that little itty bitty snippet. We don't know where that's from. IRS.gov website. Charities, nonprofit, frequently asked questions. What kind of organization can file Form 1023? Organizations that may qualify for exemption under Section 501c3 includes corporations, limited liability companies, unincorporated associations, and trusts. A partnership may not qualify for exemption and therefore may not file Form 1023. Where provisions must be in our organization's organizing documents for it to qualify for exemption. Then we go to the second point. An organization's assets must be permanently dedicated to an exempt purpose. This means that if an organization dissolves, its assets must be distributed for an exempt purpose described in Section 501c3. Pretty much this means it has to go to another 501c3 organization. Or I should say 501c3 tax exempt organization, or to the federal, state, or local government for a public purpose. To establish that an organization's assets will be permanently dedicated to an exempt purpose, the organizing document should contain a provision ensuring their distribution for an exempt purpose if the organization dissolves. What is the purpose of the questions about specific activities in Part IV of Form 1023? We ask these questions to learn about current, or planned activities in commonly recurring areas. Please explain your responses or complete a schedule with additional details. Then it says information about prohibited and restricted activities, including impermissible private benefits, information to help the organization establish that its activities will otherwise further exempt purposes, and information about the requirement to file annual returns or other tax compliance responsibilities. Some of these specific activities covered in Part IV are political campaign intervention. Were you involved in this? That's what they want to know. Legislative activities. You see that? When we're telling you they're really not supposed to be speaking against candidates or endorsing candidates, it's according to having this tax exempt status, and they can take it if they choose to. Therefore, the government is telling you what you can or cannot say. I thought that was dictated by Christ. Then they got some other stuff. You can check that out. And we go to this website and it says, should churches file for 501c3 tax exemption? Now, you can be 501c3 and not file for the actual tax exemption, yet the government will still see you as 501c3 regardless if you are a church. They still see you as that. And you can still get tax exemption or be considered. The Internal Revenue Code section 508C sets out that churches are automatically recognized as tax exempt under 501c3, and the IRS does not require churches to apply for tax exempt status if they meet the following criteria: a distinct legal existence, a recognized creed and form of worship, a definite and distinct ecclesiastical government, a formal code of doctrine and discipline, a distinct religious history, a membership not associated with any other church or denomination, an organization of ordained ministers selected after completing prescribed studies, a literature of its own, established places of worship, regular congregations, regular religious services, Sunday schools for religious instruction of the young, and schools for the preparation of its ministers. Now you start to understand why they do these different things, why they send them this school and send them here, send them there, because they want to keep that tax exempt status. Not nonprofit. Like, just think about this. A nonprofit is still a business. It still falls under the category of business. For-profit, LLC, S Corp, C Corp. It still falls under it. It just has the title non-profit, even though they can still make profits. Habitat for Humanity is a nonprofit. They still make profits. Goodwill, a nonprofit. They still make profits. The NFL started out as a non-profit. I think also the NBA. Matter of fact, I think most major sports leagues, they started out as non-profits. And they were non-profits for a very, very long time. Think about that. You are a non-profit. You are the NBA, and you are a non-profit. And you're bringing in all this money. Who was owning these teams? Who still own these teams? Billionaires. Now, I don't think it's non-profit now, but it used to be. I want to say it was the NFL. It's one of, you can go look it up. But you have this non-profit, and it's bringing in millions of dollars that turn to eventually billions of dollars. And all your expenses, you get to write off because they are tax exempt. You're not paying taxes on all the stuff you're buying. You're not paying taxes on the stadiums. You're not paying taxes on this. You're not paying taxes on that. And all the money you're spending, you get to write off. You're killing the game. Bill Gates made more money with his nonprofit, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, than he did when he was working at Microsoft. Let that sink in. He has made more money with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation than he has with Microsoft. Now you are understanding why they have all these different things when it comes to the so-called, because we know they're not the church, the so-called church. It's a part of the system to get the benefits. Now, if you're going to set up a nonprofit, hey, you set up a nonprofit, but don't throw the church in there. Don't throw the gospel in there. And that's the issue, because now you're dictating what you can or cannot say based on the government. You can go set up a nonprofit. It doesn't have to be a church. You can have a nonprofit for dogs. You can have a nonprofit for anything. You can have a nonprofit to help the veterans, help the homeless, or whatever. You can have a nonprofit to provide affordable houses. I had a nonprofit to help provide affordable houses. You still ain't got it, brother? Well, it's still in the system, but it's not, active. I'm not active with it. Why? Because I'm not really, I'm doing real estate, but I'm not making no moves right now. I'm not making any moves right now. But my nonprofit that I started, it didn't fall under the category of a church. The purpose was to provide affordable houses. It was not a church. It was not a religious organization. Here you go. NFL ends tax exempt status after 73 years. And you wonder why they wanted our people in there. The talent that we bring to the game. And more importantly, the money that they were making and still make. This is April 28th, 2015. This ain't too long ago. That's only, 8 years. For 73 years, they had tax exempt status. Meaning, them big contracts they were giving, they could afford to do so because they was able to write it off as part of the game. We're gonna give them these superstars these big checks, so we can pretty much wash our money that we make in our other businesses that are not tax exempt, and then keep more money in our own pocket. Like it's genius. I mean, I ain't gonna. It's so smart. I ain't gonna sit here and lie. But we have to understand what's going on in regards to how people are taking these pastors are taking this system and applying it to the gospel. Not to really further the gospel, but to line their pockets and continue to rob the people. So these are just a few articles. It says Bill Gates plans to give away virtually all of his $113 billion. You can do that. I mean, once you reach that level, it's like the money doesn't mean what you think it means. Like, you don't need $113 billion to live off of. It's good in regards to investments and stuff like that, which is what they do. Bill Gates made 2022's biggest charitable donation, $5 billion. What did he give $5 billion to? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. He took the money that he made and he gave it to his own foundation. Guess what? Nothing illegal about that. Nothing illegal about that in America. You can do that. Bill Gates has given over $50 billion to charitable causes. I'm going to give to not only my own, I'm going to give to others. Why? Because you can write it off. The name of the game is to keep as much money in your own pocket. And America has it set up that way. They know how to play the game. Everybody else doesn't. They know how to play the game. Everybody else doesn't. Yeah, you got to pay these taxes, but hey, if you set up a nonprofit, you have a trust, all these different things, you can have a business, we're going to give you more benefits. Give to the nonprofit that you set up, that you're the CEO of, that you sit in the board members of, that you're a majority owner. And then when you file your taxes on your for-profit business side, you write off and say, hey, I gave $5 billion. Okay, your taxes that you owe for, let's say 2022, with the money you made from Microsoft and other investments, your taxes you owe is $0. But if you owe some money, they're trying to take what you own and garnish your wages. Bezos paid 0 federal income taxes in both 2007 and 2011. From 2006 to 2018, when Bezos' wealth increased by $126 billion, he reported a total of $6.5 billion in income. He paid $1.4 billion in personal federal taxes, a true tax rate of 1.1%. On paper, he did. And guess what? He got tired of giving them folks. He said, man, I'm giving y'all $1.4 billion of my money. That ain't gonna work. He said that's not gonna work. Because I would say the same thing. Is there a way I can legally not have to give these folks $1.4 billion of my own money that I work for? The people that are in power, the ones who got money, Jeff Bezos and everything, they don't trust the government. They understand the game. That's why God told you to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. Then we go right here, it says how billionaires pay 0 in taxes. What they do is they accrue wealth through their assets, which don't get taxed on until you actually sell the assets. This is why they promote rental properties. They want the rich to own the properties and rent them out. They don't want them to sell them. That's why they give you more benefits if you rent. Then if you sell an asset, a real estate property, you can defer it. I forgot what it's called. It's called it's on the tip of my tongue. Some of you that do real estate, you know what I'm talking about. But I got a property, it's a rental property. I sell it. As long as I take those funds and use it for another rental property, the taxes are pushed back. And what they can do is they can keep on doing that. They can keep on pushing it back.
When dealing with real estate, we often hear the term capital gain. But what exactly does that mean? A capital gain refers to profit that results from the sale of capital assets like stocks, bonds, and real estate. If the sales price exceeds the purchase price, the profit is called a capital gain. These types of profits are often subject to hefty taxes. This is where a 1031 exchange can be helpful, because it helps you defer those taxes. Named after Section 1031 of the Internal Revenue Code, 1031 exchanges are a key concept that come up on your real estate exam. They're also something you should understand in real estate practice, as they can really give you a leg up on your competition. To start with, there are specific requirements which must be met for a 1031 tax-deferred exchange. In order to defer all of your taxes, you must reinvest in another property of equal or greater value. Tax-deferred exchanges cannot be used for personal properties, and under new laws enacted in December 2017, only real property qualifies for a 1031 exchange. You must also identify your replacement property and complete the exchange within a specific time frame. After the relinquished property closes, the exchanger has 45 days to identify potential replacement properties and 180 days to acquire the replacement property. The exchange is completed in 180 days. It's not 45 days plus 180 days. Here's why someone would want to do a 1031 exchange. Let's say an investor has $200,000 capital gain and incurs a tax liability of approximately $70,000 in combined with taxes when the property is sold. Only $130,000 of the capital gain remains to reinvest in another property. If we assume a 25% down payment and a 75% loan-to-value ratio, the seller would only be able to purchase a $520,000 property. If that same investor used a 1031 tax-deferred exchange with the same 25% down payment and 75% loan-to-value ratio, they could reinvest the entire $200,000. That would allow for the purchase of an $800,000 property, a $280,000 difference. As this example demonstrates, you can build your wealth faster by keeping all of your money working for you rather than paying the taxes now. In summary, a 1031 exchange is a way to defer the payment of these taxes. That's why it's referred to as a 1031 tax deferred exchange. Sometimes people say tax-free exchange, but that's not accurate because the tax is only deferred until the day you sell the property and choose not to invest the money into a new one. Here's an easy way to remember this concept. If the money touches your hands, you get taxed. If you do not touch the money and instead reinvest it, it will not get taxed. It's not tax-free because one day you'll want to touch that money and go buy something nice with it, like a cookie.
Now, there was talks about getting rid of this. I don't know if they got rid of it or not. But this is something that the rich and the wealthy have been doing for years to not have to pay these taxes. So technically they still owe the taxes, but the taxes get pushed back so far. A lot can happen in 5 years of you doing real estate. And guess who rents the most? We do. Then it goes on and says, and then what they do is they borrow when they need living expenses, they borrow. And they count those assets as collateral for the loans and money that you borrow, you don't pay taxes on. That's why they borrow the money. They don't really own nothing. They don't want to own anything. Y'all think they own stuff. The corporation that they run, it owns it. Why would I want to own everything but I still get control of all that, especially in this world? Why own everything, all this, and then the government going to take most of it in taxes when I can still control the assets, still live the same way I want to. As long as it's under the corporation, I control the corporation because I'm the CEO or I'm 51% owner. And then I can use these different assets to borrow, not to pay taxes on that money, and then build the company even more. And this is the same model that the churches have taken. This is why they get so rich. You ever wonder how these churches get so rich so fast? Well, when you ain't got to pay taxes and you're getting money back, and then you can borrow money, or you can get a building and then borrow against that. You can get a loan, you can get this, you can get that, and not to pay taxes on it. Come on, man. That just makes sense, doesn't it? This is why it's hard to tax these folks. They got lawyers, they pay the lawyers understand the tax laws. There's some of the people that are writing the tax laws for the government. The government comes out with something, but before the government even comes out with something, these people are already in the works to combat it. And then who ends up suffering for it? We the people. We the people. Now, I do believe that they should be paying taxes. I just believe it should be a fair amount. If I'm making $6.5 billion in income, I don't believe I should have to give you $1.4 billion. Maybe you think that's a fair rate. And so you can see it from the IRS.gov website. It tells you organizations not required to file Form 1023. It says the following types of organizations are not required to file Form 1023 for recognition of exemption under Internal Revenue Code Section 501c3. Number one is what? Churches. Churches, including synagogues, temples, and mosques. Integrated auxiliaries of churches and conventions or associations of churches. Any organization other than a private foundation that has gross receipts in each taxable year of normally not more than $5,000. Here it is on their website. I'm telling you how the game goes. They don't want you to know this. If you know this and you start questioning them about it, they get really, really, really upset. They get really, really, really upset. And most of them are just doing what somebody taught them. They don't even really understand unless they really understand. And then right here it tells you some of the advantages. It says Form 1023 is the necessary step to gain tax exempt status for federal income tax. This status can be crucial for nonprofits as it allows them to receive tax-deductible contributions from donors, which can be a significant source of funding for their activities, meaning that they can receive money from the bigwigs, the very ones that have a set amount that they give to charitable donations so they can write off on their businesses. Like, hey, we're going to give to you, but we need you to have that tax-exempt status. We need you to play by the rules. Legitimacy and credibility. Having 501c3 status enhances an organization's credibility and legitimacy in the eyes of donors, supporters, and grant-making institutions. It can lead to increased trust and more substantial financial support. The government will give you what you need. They will give it to you, literally. Access to grants. Many grant-making organizations, including government agencies and private foundations, often require nonprofits to have 501c3 status before they can apply for grants. Form 1023 facilitates access to these funding opportunities. Okay, you don't have to do it, but guess what? You don't get these special benefits from the government. It's one thing if you're doing it because you're running a legit business. Another thing when you're doing it and you are manipulating the gospel. You claim you're preaching the gospel. And you're doing all these different things so you can put more money in your pocket. And you're not really truly helping the people. You're not giving the people what they need. Y'all getting all this money. You're getting all this money, but you're not really helping the people. And it's sick. Ability to engage in tax-exempt activities. Obtaining tax-exempt status allows organizations to engage in various tax-exempt activities such as educational, charitable, scientific, and religious endeavors without the burden of federal income tax. Legal protection. Nonprofit status provides some legal protection to organizations' leaders and members as they are generally not personally liable for the organization's debts or liabilities. Public recognition. Nonprofit organizations with 501c3 status are often eligible for public recognition and certification, which can help with public awareness and support. This is how they get the money from the people. This is how they get the money from the government. And you wonder why they're so powerful. The modern day church buildings are not powerful because they have the power of God. They are powerful because of things like that. They are powerful because of money. That's why. The love of money is the root of all evil. And I tell you again, they don't want you to know these things. But like I said, it's not going to be a long video. It's on the IRS.gov website, public information. And yet we don't educate ourselves. We don't get knowledge. We don't get wisdom. And God said that we are destroyed because of our lack of knowledge, because of our lack of wisdom, because of our lack of understanding. This is why people are able to take advantage of us collectively. They can't take advantage of me when I know what's going on. I know how to play the game. Now, I would never set up a 501c3 tax-exempt church. Would I set up a 501c3 tax-exempt nonprofit business? Yes, because I have. I had one. and its focus was on providing affordable housing. That's how you quote unquote play the game. That's how you quote unquote play the game. But we have no need to manipulate people with the gospel. We have no need to get in bed with the government when it comes to the gospel. We have no need to have our hands out begging the government when it comes to the gospel. The word of God says that the prophet, he never saw the children of God begging for bread. Do we truly trust in our Messiah? Do we truly trust in the Lord Jesus Christ, or are we trusting in the government? Which one is it? I speak this stuff to educate you. I want you to know what they don't want you to know. I want to present things in front of you that are going to make you think. Now you know what's up. Now you know why they're really doing what they're doing. It's about the money. It's a perfect business. Nonprofits be killing it. You tell me that people going to give me money, I'm still going to be able to make money, and I can get a salary? Dr. Michael Brown, his salary was what? For at least 5 years, we know he was making over $100,000. Getting paid by the very nonprofit he set up. Killing the game. And we be focusing on the wrong thing and not realizing why they do what they do. Him having people on the show, especially Hebrew Israelites or black people who claim to be Hebrew Israelites, is garnering attention to get more money. Remember, go watch the video if you haven't seen it. The government passed laws to combat anti-you-know-what. And therefore, if you got people on your platform that are spewing rhetoric that they don't agree with, that is evidence to say, hey, I had them on my platform. I got them on there. I need the resources to fight against this. Then they gonna come a big old check. They're gonna give them a grant, $50,000, $100,000, $150,000 that they don't have to pay back. And guess what? They can use that money how they see fit according to the organization. They can use that money to buy more real estate and say, we're going to expand or we're going to invest in real estate because the nonprofit corporation will be the one that owns it. Yet, who is the CEO? Who is the director on the board? The executive director. You see what I'm saying? And then they can apply for this grant and that grant and this grant. Or they can take that $150,000 or how much ever it is, and they can invest in advertising to get the videos and stuff out there because they got the financial backing. This is why Christ said in the book of Revelation to the church of Philadelphia, he said, I open the door that no man can shut. I know you have a little strength. I know you have a little strength. Let me get that scripture for you real fast. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David, he that openeth and no man shutteth, and shutteth and no man openeth. I know thy works. I know what you're doing. I see everything you do. I know how hard it is. Behold, I have set before thee an open door. Because you are working my works, I'm going to open up a door that no man can shut it. For what? For thou hast a little strength. Christ is pretty much saying, I got to open this door for y'all because you ain't got a lot of strength. You ain't got no money. You don't have any money to really put behind what you're doing like these people do. These is how these ministries are blowing up. This is how these YouTube channels are blowing up because they put money behind it. And once you start putting money behind it, then it grows faster and you start getting a check. And it goes on and says, and has kept my word and has not denied my name. Because we have been obedient and faithful, he gives us a strength to fight in this world amongst these demons and devils, and they're very powerful. Why? Because they have the money, millions and millions of dollars backing them. But we have something, or I should say, we have someone that is more powerful than all the money in the world combined infinity times over. And that is the Lord Jesus Christ. But let's not get it twisted. The enemy is powerful. And we must respect that power in the sense of not being prideful, but walking in humility, yet confidently in the gospel of Christ, and using the strength that he has given us. Because check this out. Even though they are spending all this money, got all this money to grow whatever it is they're growing, and we don't have a lot of money, we don't have a lot of strength, we still make an impact. We have still won, and we will still win. They can't understand, how do we keep on winning, yet they have spent all this money? How do we keep on influencing people? How do people keep on listening to us? Because the power that we have. Our power is more powerful than their power. This is why they want us gone. If you go listen to what the demons, the devils are saying, these people that are channeling these spirits, they want us gone. In fact, they are waiting for us to leave. They are waiting for us to leave so they can have free reign on this earth. They can't do that right now. Why? Because we are here. This goes back to the scripture where it talks about he who not letteth will let until he is taken out of the way. The Holy Spirit, which is inside of us. Once the Holy Spirit is removed, which means that we are removed, it's all hell on earth. But like I said, not going to keep you too long. Just wanted to, educate you on this and give you some things to think about and let you know what's really going on. And be careful with these so-called church buildings. With that being said, God bless each and every one of you. In Jesus Christ's name, as always, stay focused for Jesus. And as you know, the truth is not debated, it is declared.